on the 19th of February 2019 to order. Please turn off your cell phones or silence them. We'll observe a moment of silence, please. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Mr. Domingo, if you would call the roll, please.
Councilmember Reed. Here. Brown.
Here.
Lawler.
Here.
Spicer.
Here.
Williamson.
Here.
And Mayor Atchison.
Here. First item of business is approval of the agenda. Someone will move to approve the agenda. Councilmember Lawler.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to modify the agenda by adding somewhere near the front the item for the study session on Thursday the 21st.
Is that seconded? To modify the agenda as such?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? We'll try it again. Those in favor of modifying the agenda, please signify by saying aye or yay.
Yes. Aye.
Okay. Those opposed? Okay, we will modify the agenda and we will add it to item G under, no, wait a minute, I'm sorry, so it would be under, after consent calendar, under discussions. Okay. So we'll add it as new item A.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're very welcome. Okay, if there are no other amendments, may I have a motion to approve the modified agenda?
So moved.
Seconded?
Support.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Yes.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay. Agenda is approved. All right. First order of business, presentations and recognitions, is swearing in oath of office for our new Precinct 1 council member, Ms. Clark.
You get to go to center stage.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Vicki Clark,
I, Vicki Clark,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state,
and of the state,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
faithfully and impartially,
faithfully and impartially,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of City of Albion,
of the City of Albion,
Council Member,
Council Member,
Precinct Number 1.
Precinct Number 1.
So help me God.
So help me.
Next order of business, proclamation recognizing February 2019 as Black History Month. We are in February, so I will read the proclamation. Proclamation recognizing February 2019 as Black History Month. Whereas Black History Month was created in 1926 in the United States when historian Dr. Carter G. Woodson was inspired by his father's teachings that learning to accept insult, to compromise on principle, to mislead your fellow man, or to betray your people is to lose your soul. And whereas Dr. Woodson believed those who have no record of what their forebears have accomplished lose the inspiration which comes from the teachings of biography and history. And whereas Black History Month affords the special opportunity to become more knowledgeable about Black heritage and to honor the many Black leaders who have contributed to the progress of our nation. And whereas such knowledge can strengthen the insight of all of our citizens regarding the issues of human rights, the great strides that have been made in the crusade to eliminate barriers of equality for minority groups, and the continuing struggle against racial discrimination and poverty. And whereas Albion can count among its past and present citizens many prominent African American leaders, educators, patriots, and social justice pioneers, including Dr. Daniel Bogan Jr., Geraldine and Harry Bonner Sr., Betty Branch, Reverend Robert Brown, Tillman Cornelius, Arthur and Vivian Davis, Robert Emeola Dunklin, Ron Gant, Barb Gladney, Robert Holland, Dr. Ruth Holland, Charles Bucky Jones, Pastor Charles Jones, Hazel Elias, James McIntosh, Dr. Cheryl Mitchell, Reverend Ken Pons, Pastor Donald L. Phillips III, and Dr. Talila Phillips, Lynn Reed, Vera Simpson, Dr. Dolores Smiley, Charles Snyder, Joyce Spicer, Calvin Wheeler, and Eddie Williams. Now, therefore, I, Dave Atchison, Mayor of Albion, do hereby proclaim February 2019 as Black History Month in the city of Albion, and urge all residents of Albion to join in making this period a rededication to the principles of justice and equality for all people. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of this city to be affixed, dated this 19th day of February 2019, signed Mayor Dave Atchison. Next presentation is on Darrington Lovelace Day. Do we have a representative from Darrington's Gift here tonight that would come forward and just give an overview of your charitable organization? Thank you.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Hello, Council, Mayor Atchison, City of Albion. My name is Baron J. Lovelace. Myself, along with my mother, Lynn Lovelace, and my sister in her absence, Jaquita Lovelace, began Darrington's Gift in 2016 in honor of my brother, Darrington Lovelace, who unfortunately passed away after a 4-year battle with colon cancer. After our family went through the process of attending numerous appointments at clinics, oncologists, surgeries, and so forth, we're no strangers to the process of trying to fight for your life and the high costs of obtaining treatments. Darrington maintained a 3.8 GPA at Henry Ford College prior to getting so sick that he couldn't continue his education. We cherish his legacy in the name of Darrington's Gift by assisting healthcare students with an annual scholarship at Henry Ford College and also Albion College. We also assist cancer patients in the Calhoun and Jackson areas with gas cards, Make-A-Wish gifts for terminal patients, gift baskets, etc. More information about our LLC and nonprofit organization can be obtained at darringtonsgift.org. My mom will tell you more as well.
So, Darrington's Gift, as my daughter said, is an organization that we established in Darrington's memory. He was a very good student, a good citizen of Albion, and we just want to continue on with his legacy. We have held an annual benefit, which this year will be the 4th year. We call it the 4th annual Darrington Lovelace Memorial Scholarship and Cancer Benefit. And with that, we raise money for our nonprofit, where we can obtain the gas cards and other things that cancer patients may need, just to provide support for them. We also have educational study seminars that we want to, do for the city of Albion, because there are so many. Seem like all the time there are more and more cancer cases being diagnosed, and we believe that prevention is a big piece of, survival. So we don't want to take up too much time, but that's where we're coming from.
I'm done to read the proclamation. The date of your event is the 2nd of March.
March 2nd, yes.
Proclamation recognizing March 2nd, 2019 as Darrington Lovelace Day in Albion. Whereas Darrington Lovelace was a very special, friendly, caring young man, possessing a giant heart, who passed away at the age of 27 from complications related to colon cancer after a 4-year battle. And whereas Darrington's Gift Incorporated is a nonprofit organization established in the memory of Darrington Lovelace, and whereas the mission of Darrington's Gift is to assist in empowering individuals by providing financial assistance and needed resources to improve the quality of life of those who are battling cancer, and whereas Darrington's Gift strives to decrease the prevalence of cancer diagnosis in disadvantaged communities by providing educational support to increase awareness regarding treatment options and prevention measures, and whereas the support provided by Darrington's Gift includes an annual academic scholarship to assist students pursuing degrees in healthcare, and whereas carrying out Darrington's legacy and helping others is an integral part of the character of our Albion community, and whereas March 2nd, 2019 is the 4th annual Darrington Lovelace Memorial Scholarship and Cancer Benefit Fundraiser event for Darrington's Gift, and whereas although Darrington is absent physically, he is forever present in the hearts of those who loved and knew him. Now, therefore, I, Dave Ashton, Mayor of Albion, do hereby proclaim March 2nd, 2019 as Darrington Lovelace Day in the city of Albion, and urge all residents of Albion to join in supporting the 4th annual Darrington Lovelace Memorial Scholarship and Cancer Benefit Fundraiser event for Darrington's Gift. And with the cheer up, I have hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of this city to be affixed. Next item is the update on the zoning rewrite. I think that's going to be, yep. Good evening, Mr. Tracy.
John Tracy, Director of Planning, Building, and Code Enforcement. Unfortunately, for some unforeseen circumstances, our planning commission is behind by about 4 months. Originally, we had planned on being done with the complete rewrite of the zoning by January, and happened to pass. We are getting back on track. Tomorrow night we will be meeting. The planning commission will be meeting and picking up where we had left off. At this point, out of the 10 chapters, we have approximately 2.5 chapters to finish up. It will take us approximately 2.5 to 3 months at this point, so most likely in May or towards end of May, first part of June in there, we should be completed and have had the hearings and council's approval.
So the meeting is tomorrow night. That's open to the public. That's at the Ludington Center? Or
No,
where is
the
it?
meeting will be here in the council chambers. Okay. It's at 7 o'clock. It will be at least 2 hours long tomorrow night.
Okay. Are there any questions by council?
At the planning commission meeting too?
Pardon me? Yes, both the subcommittee and planning commission members will all be meeting at one time. What will be discussed tomorrow night is an overview of where we had been before we kind of got sidetracked, and we will try to move forward with a couple of chapters tomorrow night too.
Okay. Councilmember Winston.
I would rather not go into that right now.
No.
Thank you, Mr. Tracy. Next item is the Albion Marshall Resilient Community Program Story Circle.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. And my name is Ronnie Sims. I'm here to present the information about a process called Story Circles. On January 19th, the program called for volunteers to be trained in being facilitators for the Story Circle. And I was one of those volunteers. There were 7 of us It was very bad weather that day, so there probably would have been more. But the 7 of us did show up, and we were trained. Unfortunately, because of the weather again was bad, they canceled that Saturday evening and rescheduled it for the next day, that Sunday. And on Sunday at the Albion, Marshall Opportunity High School, there were about 35 participants that came out to be a part of the actual story circle. I, again, was one of the trained facilitators, along with 5 other people from the community. Again, about 35 people came and showed up. We had about 4 different groups. And I just want to read what the story circle is all about. A story circle is a small group of individuals sitting in a circle, sharing stories from their own experience and that are focused on a common theme. Everyone has a story to tell. All that's required for a story to be complete is a beginning, middle, and end. A story circle is a journey into its theme, with multiple dimensions, twists, and turns. With each story shared, a larger, richer, and more complex story emerges in turn. By the end, differences and commonalities reveal themselves. Through listening to and sharing our individual stories, we strengthen both our understanding and community. So this process, again, is facilitated and guided, and everybody just had to trust the process. When I finished the story circle, the people who I was in the circle with, we gained a sense of community just within that circle. We gained closeness, better understanding of each other's perspectives on what they've gone through in their lives and the stories that they shared. And also, again, like it said, each person's story, it became one story. It was like a collaboration. And so I was asking some of the council members about this process for even yourselves, because as representatives of each of the communities, it's nice to be able to represent the communities, but this is a community within itself. And to get to know each other first before you represent the outside community, I think would be an awesome experience and an awesome opportunity. So if you're interested, there are facilitators available. Linda Lanou, I spoke with her, and she was integral in bringing this to be, as well as Jennifer Darling. So I spoke with Linda, and I know she'll be coming before you, I believe, next week, and she'll give you more information. She's willing to share that if you want to participate in this process, I guarantee you it will make a big difference for the city council. Thank you. Any questions?
Council members have questions? Thank you, Mr. Sims.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item is the S Squared project. Miss Emily Smith from Mayor Cor Vista.
Evening, council, and everybody else in Albion, that too. So when I drove up this morning, or this evening, because I like to sleep, I saw the sun was shining. The sun is shining, the snow is melting, slowly, but it is. And so, as of the 15th, we were able to launch the S Squared project and make the survey instrument available to the public. So you might have seen these, hopefully, around the community, hopefully. If not, you're going to see them now. And we're going to try and definitely make a media blast and try and get this to as many people as possible. And I don't know if I've got help. Okay. See the lovely logo that we've got. So you're hopefully going to see this around town and hopefully get sick of it as much as you see it, because this is definitely an opportunity that we can kind of come together as a community to make a big difference. There's the flyer that, as you can see, it started February 15th. So this Friday, we rolled it out at Eggs and Issues. We've been trying to gain some support in the community, and like you can see, community events on the 16th and the 23rd, but I'll get to those later. And then we're kind of going to cap it off on Sunday, April 7th. So that'll give us about 2 months, give or take, to open it up, have people get it, to have a couple events, and just kind of get out in the community. Hopefully the weather will break before then. So that's the hope. And you can access the survey instrument through the QR code or the link. It's going to be on different flyers. We're going to have it in different places. And so the QR code, you can just scan it with your phone if you have a QR-enabled app. The website, you can opens on browsers. It'll work on most browsers. And then you can also download it through an app, which is the Survey 123 app. And that can go iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows. So you can even take your own computer and submit it from your desk. It's very versatile, and hopefully that'll kind of open it up to as many people as possible. And I personally think it's pretty easy, but let me show you. So let's watch the video. When you initially go and follow the link, you'll get the option of either using it in a web browser or in the Survey 123 app. If you use the Survey 123 app, you're going to have to go through a couple more steps, downloading it, and it does give you the ability to submit it offline. So if you're like me and don't have a whole lot of data, then the app is probably your best way to go, because then you can always sync it back when you get on Wi-Fi and it doesn't take as much data. So I'll kind of walk through this. Hopefully it'll work. Hopefully. Nope. It worked before. This is just technology. But it's easier. It is really easier than this. So. Like I said before, you'll come up to this screen will be the initial screen. And then it will take you to the next screen, which will be the survey. Give it a second. Go ahead and you can input the date and the time. It's pre-populated, so it shouldn't be that hard. And then time for the location. This is the key element to this project. If we can know where these issues are, we can fix them. And so as you can see, it's kind of a drag and drop process. If you have a GPS-enabled phone, device, that kind of stuff, you can skip that part. We do ask you to put the address in just so we can know kind of which side of the road it is on, because due to civilian GPS, we don't always have the accuracy. So, street signs and sidewalks, you'll be asked a series of questions like what type it is, what does the sign say, and what's wrong with it. And right now you're going to just type it. And so we tried to go and encompass as many issues as we could. Rust, faded, missing pieces, it's not there. And if it's a great one, hit none. So then after you can see it's kind of scrolling up, you can rate the sidewalk and then ideally upload a picture, because it's a whole lot easier to match up pictures and spots as opposed to text. Then add some comments. And if you are deciding to do it with a church group or a civic group that you need to have confirmation that you did, get a hold of me on the website, on my email, which is posted, and then we'll get you a username so then I can track it. So hopefully that kind of eases some fears about how it goes. It's a lot of just plug and play. And when you do take pictures, please take clear pictures. Use a little context. As much as I like to see a sign that says just Albion, or you can see my lovely feet, or your lunchbox, or something like that, or a car tire, ideally make it so that we can match up. I like your shoes, but I really don't want to see them, or your fingers. I really don't want to see those either. So, on the 26th of March, it is a Saturday, the 16th of March, it is a Saturday, we're going to have kind of a community canvassing event. I really encourage citizens to get out in their communities in the next couple weeks, submit reports and that kind of stuff, because when we do the community event on the 16th, it's going to be more of, hey, let's double check and make sure we have everything. Because with this inventory, we want to create digital records that will be able to be used and maintained in the future, because once we can get a digital record of it, we can know where the signs and street signs are, and then we can then track it later and be able to know this sidewalk was on this side, this sidewalk was done this date, and we can be better efficient when it comes to maintaining them. So we're going to start off at Starling Books and Brew, kind of go through, this is the web, this is the app, and just kind of get everybody started. And then we're going to kind of canvass the city, dividing it depending on previous responses, and then just to make sure we cover everything. There is going to be a rain date of the 23rd, which is just that next Saturday. If by chance it rains or anything, or we're not able to finish it on the 16th, that's when the 23rd is going to. And hopefully by the 23rd, we'll cover most of it. And then after the 23rd, there's still time to do it. So as you can see, this is kind of the backstory. This is what I'm going to end up seeing. I don't want to, okay. This is the back. So this is, if you can see the little dot up there, that's the point that I submitted, just through that same process that I showed on the screen capture. It's kind of hard to see, I know. But then as you can see on the right side, there's your survey that you filled out. There's your picture, there's the map and everything. So on the back side, we're going to get a map of all the responses, all the geo points and everything, so that we can take that information and I can filter it, sidewalk, street sign, and that kind of stuff. Ideally, we want to go, and I know we're saying just to get it fixed, but if we can inventory all the street signs and all the different sidewalks, we can see, oh, there's sidewalk here and there's not sidewalk here, but do the citizens really want sidewalk there? Because as long as we can know where it is, I've got a shapefile that we can manipulate and know what we have. And as I said, there's the first flyer. It's going to be, like I said, the 15th through the 15th of February to the 7th of April. And like I said, QR code, if this is a little intimidating, I am more than happy to help. I will sit down with you, we'll go through some stuff, and I want you to definitely be at ease with this. Ideally, we'll have a couple like community outreach events, have it where people are comfortable, because I know coming to City Hall might not always be comfortable, but I want to get out in the community, because if we want to fix it, we got to know where it's at. And so hopefully this gets moving. Like I said, I'm more than happy to sit down with you, grab your phone, we'll grab some Wi-Fi, and we'll be good. So that is hopefully how S Squared has come up. There's been a really great team of people that have been working on it, and we just really are excited and want this to be as beneficial as possible. And it gives me some work to do, so it's all good. Any questions?
Councilmember Lawler.
Thank you, Mayor. The problem that I run into in my precinct is that I have a lot of elderly and disabled people, so they don't get out much. Most of them have Obama phones. So would you please sit down with me to try to figure out how I can get the information to people in my precinct some kind of way, because I do have to, I want their word to be infinite.
Yeah, that's actually not a problem. We have 2 tablets that are owned by the city that we can potentially do that. And there are potential to use a Wi-Fi hotspot. It just kind of depends. All else fails, we'll sit down and we'll just kind of go through, this is where the thing is, and we'll just point it out that way. So I will definitely sit down with you. We'll make some time, and because I really want this to be accessible to as many people as possible. I know it's kind of intimidating when it's kind of an online thing for some people, but I want to kind of take the fear out of it, because this is really something that is just kind of, it gets routine. If you do it a couple times, you'll literally be clicking things and you'll be like, oh, done. It shouldn't take that long. And if we want to go on a walk, I'm more than happy to do that. And especially when the weather starts getting nicer.
Thank you.
Perhaps we have a lot of organizations in town that support the community, Boy Scouts, lots of things. So maybe we can come up with a list, and they can go around with folks from your precinct, and they're a heck of a lot faster than most of us anyway. But I think we can probably put something together. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
Emily, thank you, Mayor. Emily, quick question. Is verbally communicating a weathered worn sign, hazardous sidewalk prohibited? Do you prefer that people not verbally communicate to you, but they just use the website?
If we can do the app, it'll be I would prefer that. But if you've got people that need to, if any citizen needs to, come and verbally tell me, we'll just go and we'll input it, and then we can go out later and add pictures. That's kind of the great thing with GIS. And you can add attachments and different things to add pictures to it. Ideally, we want them when when it's submitted. But if it's not, we can go back and do it. And yes, the pictures, I do strongly stress to submit pictures, but it's not the end of the world if we don't. And we can definitely hit it. We can make sure we get everything taken care of.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. We'll now move into public comments. Excuse me. Persons addressing the City Council shall limit their comments to agenda items only, no more than 3 minutes. Proper decorum is required, and I ask that the folks in the gallery please respect the speakers and let them without any interruption. So, open for public comments.
Good evening, Council. I am Bill Dobbins. You want to name and address? Is that normal?
Please. Okay. Sorry, I forgot to state that. Thank you.
15901 East Michigan Avenue, Albion, Michigan. I'm here to speak in support of Emily Verbecki for the DDA, which is down on your agenda there. Emily is my daughter, which is probably the biggest block to getting this appointment. Emily was born in Marshall, educated in Albion. She went to grade school at St. John's here in Albion, eventually attended high school at Albion High School. She was on the state championship swim team and was involved with violin and viola during her high school days. She then attended Albion College and received a bachelor's in psychology, and then went on a journey with her soon-to-be husband and moved to Denver, Colorado, where she attended the University of Denver and received a master's in child psychology. She then returned to Michigan, to our pleasure, and moved to Allen Park, Michigan. During that period of time, she had several jobs at various public school systems as a school psychologist. In October of 2018, we were fortunate to have Emily and her husband Joe and their son Ian move back to Albion, purchased a home on Porter Street, and became involved in a variety of different things in the community. Emily presently directs our Great Game of Business program for employee engagement at Castor Concepts. She's involved with the Pure Albion store as a manager. She runs the Office Albion, and she's been a project manager for the Foundry Bakehouse in Delhi, which will be open hopefully in April. She's also starting a new business with her husband in a real estate business here in town. She's been involved with Brick Street Marketing. She has developed the Downtown Albion website and Facebook page as Marketing Albion, and has also been in charge of the nonprofit Run Albion, which sponsors a 3-part series of 5K runs in the community of Albion. Emily is highly qualified to be a valuable part of the DDA. My concern is that her biggest block is her father, in the involvement that he's had in a variety of different ventures here in town, in the way that's seen by members of the City Council. I would ask that you not penalize Emily and her passion for this community and having grown up in this community. She is the kind of people that we've asked to return to this community, and I ask that you seriously consider her for the DDA. Thank you.
Further public comment?
Garrett Brown, 1016 South Superior Street. Regarding the appointments, one concern I do have is the Board of Review is a way for residents to kind of appeal their property assessments, and for hardships and concerns like that. And when I was in office, there were some concerns raised about the strict confidentiality that's tied to that, because people are disclosing financial information, and there were some concerns raised, and the person who is seeking to come before council tonight for confirmation or approval came before I had the opportunity to do this, and I think the concern is that there was a concern raised about the sharing of information from one of the persons who, at least one I know directly, was concerned about the dissemination of their personal information into the community. So I think that that's something that needs to be looked into. It was raised before the council before, but I think that that is a concern, and I'd be remiss if I didn't speak up to that on that. So thank you.
Any further public comments this evening? Seeing no further public comments, we'll close that portion. Okay, next item is closed session. If I can have a motion. And seconded? Okay. Been moved and seconded to go into closed session. All those in favor, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Reed? Yes. Brown?
Yes.
Lawler?
Yes.
Spicer?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
And Mayor Atchison.
Yes. We'll adjourn. Okay. Okay.
So was my wife. I came home, she was still in her pajamas at 4 o'clock.
Water at? I'll take my water. Oh, I lost my water somewhere. I think so. I thought I took it downstairs. It must be. Lord. I gotta use the bathroom real quick.
Aren't you glad you signed up for this?
Happy I'm sitting next to you.
Good. See?
Councilmember Spicer. Call the meeting to order. Mr. Megan, would you read the roll?
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Lawler.
Here.
Spicer.
Here.
Williamson.
Here.
And Mayor Atchison.
Here. Next item is the consent calendar, approval of study session minutes for 4th of February and regular session minutes for the 4th of February. I have a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Okay. First item is new item A, which is study session. Councilmember Lawler.
Thank you, Mayor. The study session that is scheduled for February the 24th, the 7 p.m. I was asking if it could start at 7, but I knew that my fellow council member does work and needed time to get back to Albion. My concern about it is that during this training, that we all need this training, and it is very important for each and every council member to attend. So I was asking that this meeting be moved to 6 or 6:30 so that I'm able to attend and not have to call privilege, because my precinct also needs representation at this meeting. So with that being said, I was wondering if it would be considerable 6:30 instead of 7.
First point of clarification, I believe it's the 21st, Thursday? Okay, probably just a slip of the tongue, but you said 24th.
Oh, no.
You meant 21st, okay. So how long does this training, how long did it take last time?
A couple hours.
that the general consensus?
Depending.
2 hours?
A little more, a little less, longer.
I'm sorry?
A little more,
I
depending.
think it was a little longer actually, but we had a lot of one-on-one conversation. Like, we were able to submit questions prior and have more of a, specific issue dialogue. So it was a while, it was at least 2 hours.
Okay. So is any further discussion? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to have the start time moved to 6:30.
So move.
Seconded?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, start time for, I'm sorry? Oh. Okay. Okay. Sure, we do a roll call vote. Would you please read the roll?
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes?
Spicer,
Yes.
Williamson,
No.
and Mayor Atchison.
Yes.
So 6:30?
6:30.
Thank you.
That's Thursday, the 21st.
I will notify Attorney Smith.
If that's going to be an issue for him,
It shouldn't be. He said he was available as early as 6, so I'll just ask him
Right.
if he can advance his schedule a half an hour.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
you're welcome. Okay. Next item, discussion, action, city manager leave status. City Attorney Hargis.
I think actually you need a
Okay, I'm sorry. Good point. May I have a motion to, well,
Well, actually, why don't I do a discussion then so
Yeah.
I can make a motion? So obviously the council's just had a closed session. It's the recommendation of the city attorney's office and the city's labor attorney, Ms. Chelsea Ditz with Keller Toma, that the city manager's leave status be changed from paid administrative leave to unpaid administrative leave effective immediately and until further notice by the council.
so may I have a motion to place the city manager, update her leave status to unpaid administrative leave?
So moved.
And seconded?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes?
Spicer,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
and Mayor Atchison.
Yes. Okay. Next item, discussion approval resolution number 2019-02, a resolution for review of facilities authorized by the Michigan Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana Act. And this is to require the council to come back and readdress our current resolution, which is an opt-out, within 60 days after the state issues their regulations for governing licensing for recreational marijuana facilities. Is there anything you'd like to add or clarify?
Just so the council's aware, if precedent is any indicator, my guess is the Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs will likely have their emergency rules in place at the end of 2019. So at that point, once they have their emergency rules in place, we can then, this resolution requires the council to come back in 60 days and at least discuss the ordinance that the council's put in place opting out of recreational marijuana facilities. And just as a reminder, the ordinance does not in any way affect the medical marijuana facilities that are previously authorized by council. Basically, the idea was not to put the cart before the horse and try to have facilities before they're regulated by the state. And this just requires future discussion once the state puts their regulations in place.
All right, and we're required to do that within 60 days.
Within 60 days of the state issuing its emergency rules, which I would anticipate happening in November or December of this year.
Any questions for, okay, if I may have a motion for the resolution 2019-02?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those, oh, you should read the roll, please.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes?
Spicer,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
and Mayor Atchison.
Yes. Okay. Next item. Request approval of Resolution 2019-04, a resolution to approve contract number 195026 with the Michigan Department of Transportation, or MDOT, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the contract for the city of Albion. Okay. May I have a motion for the approval of that resolution?
So moved.
Okay, seconded? Okay. Is there discussion? And I would ask our acting city manager to give us an overview of the contract.
Sure. If you will recall, one of the two projects that we were intending or planning on completing this summer was North Street, which is obviously the one before you. Knowing that, we did budget for it. We'll be taking money in the budget. We took money from the street millage that'll come in, and I think we're looking at $565,000 coming in from the street millage to cover that. An additional $100,000, actually $120,000 coming in from the water fund to help cover the water lines underneath the street for that project. And if you look, there's a Exhibit 1 in there. I think they're talking a total price or estimated total price of $602,000. That would be our responsibility. So what we have budgeted should cover. Obviously, you have engineering costs and stuff that fluctuate some, but you know what we have budgeted should come in very, very close to what they're estimated here. And I think the contract, I believe, Attorney Harkness looked at all. If I remember right, I think the contract's just a standard MDOT contract.
We've had similar contracts in the past. It's nothing out of the ordinary. More or less, since the last one of these we did, the location is the only thing that changed, and the amounts based on the location.
Okay. Are there any questions from council? If not, we'll close debate. If you would read the roll, please.
Councilmember Lawler,
Yes.
Spicer,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
and Mayor Atchison.
Yes. Okay. Request approval of Resolution 2019-05 to set compensation for acting city manager. Okay. If I may have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Okay. Discussion? Questions? We have something in here. Okay. So if there's no questions, no further debate, those in favor of this resolution, 2019-05, to set compensation for the acting city manager, we'll do the roll call vote.
Councilmember Spicer,
I'm sorry, what is the compensation? I can't find the resolution.
$100 per day.
500?
One.
Oh, 500 a week. Yes. Thank you.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
and Mayor Atchison.
Yes. Okay. Item Foxtrot. Request approval resolution number 2019-06, resolution to approve contract with Maynard Costerian for fiscal year 2018 auditing services. I may have a motion. Seconded.
Support.
Thank you. Discussion. Again, Mr. Mead, if you would.
Yes, this is our annual audit that we have each year, financial audit, city, required not only by the state, but also any of the grants and stuff that we apply for will require this as well. The name change, or the name may sound a little different to you. This is the same firm. If you guys remember, they actually changed their name last year as well, so it gets a little confusing. So going back a few years, several years actually, it was with Abraham and Gaffney. A year ago, roughly, they had a merger. Someone brought this to you a year ago. It was under different names, the same people. And apparently, somewhere throughout the course of the year, they've had another consolidation, another CPA firm, and again, a new name, but same people. So we would be dealing with the same auditors on site. And I put together, just towards the end of the engagement letter that's included in the packet, there's I put together what we paid the last, I don't know, what did I go back, 9 years, I guess, from 2010 forward, and you can see all of these had been with the same firm, obviously, like I said before, different names, but it's always been the same firm. Even though we've done this for the most part on a one-year basis, sometimes we'd go out maybe 2 years worth of contracting ahead, but like I said, even though a lot of these years it's been 1 year at a time, they've been very good to us on not increasing the cost. You could see, I think the lowest was $26,900 in 2012. The high was, looks like $30,250. We paid 2 years in a row in 13 and 14. And bear in mind, these will fluctuate some if they have to do additional work, which, for example, if we exceed a certain threshold of federal funding, we have to do a comprehensive audit, so it's a little more detailed, and then it gets filed at the feds, at the federal level as well. So some of those years, like for example, I think in 13 was when we got the fire truck. It was almost $1 million grant, so that put us over the threshold. So they charged a little bit more there. I think we had a street project. It might have been the dig project downtown or something, if I recall, that kicked it up another year. But regardless, as we're going through these each year, the state is coming out with more and more and more requirements for them to do. I keep anticipating them to come back at some point and say, hey, we really got to raise this rates because we're doing so much more. A lot of new GASB laws or standards rather, and a lot of new state requirements. So we budgeted $34,500 for this coming year. I mean, we would pay it this year, but it's for the 18 audit. And their proposal for that they have before you is at $30,000, and that includes the extra if they do the F-65 report for us, federal report for us and stuff. So again, I think they're being very fair on their pricing.
So if I understood correctly, in the 2019 budget that council has approved, there's a line item of $34,500 for this, and the actual contract is less than that.
It's 30, correct.
Okay. Any questions from council? Any further discussion? Council? Okay. So, motion before us is to approve Resolution 2019-06, the resolution to approve the contract with Maynard Custodian for fiscal year 2018 auditing services. The amount of the contract is $30,000. Mr. Domingo, would you read the roll, please?
Councilmember Williamson.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Lawler.
Yes.
Spicer.
Yes.
And Mayor Atchison.
Yes. Okay. Next item, discussion approval of the municipal code, Muni code update. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion. Mr. Mead, would you give us the overview on this one?
Actually, I may defer this one to Attorney Harkness or possibly John Creasy. I'm not sure.
I'll start and John can jump in because he looks eager. So in a nutshell, Municode is the service that puts together our ordinances for purposes of online access and keeps them updated. And along with I believe they also provide print versions as well. The reason that this is coming to council is our ordinances, at least as it relates to our online ordinances, have not been updated since 2011. And so when people go, and that includes the charter amendments that have happened at elections and all of the ordinances that have been passed since then. So when people go, as most people do these days, nobody uses a hardcover book anymore except maybe attorneys. Everyone goes online, and when they look at the ordinances, they're current as of 7 years ago, 8 years ago now. So I'm not suggesting that the council some municipalities update these every time they pass an ordinance. I'm not suggesting that, but certainly I think we can do better than once a decade. And that's what's before you today, and certainly John can fill you in on the details, but there's a proposal from Unicode included in your packet.
Mr. Tracy.
Municode we've had for a number of years, as everyone knows. And yes, we have our ordinance online, but we also have hard copies in City Hall. Not everybody likes the ordinance online. Most of us do, but not all do. The amount here is the estimates for 380 pages of ordinances, basically 40 plus, I think 42 or 43 between amendments and ordinances that have been written since actually the end of 2010, starting in 2011 on through to current. There have not been any of these codified and put into the Code of Ordinances. So with the 380 pages at $19.78 per page, the estimate is $7,516.40, and then there's a few items on that added to bring it up to a total of $7,736.40. If anybody or has anybody ever that has ever looked at the ordinances online or in the book without these being brought up to date, it's kind of hard to follow what's happening, and it's easy to look at an ordinance and not really be looking at what is current and speaking, maybe telling someone or someone looking at it and reading it what's no longer in effect. So at this point, it's up to the council if they want to move forward with this. They have all the information. I don't know if we have anything for 2018 that would go in there right now that you know of. So, okay. And then it would probably be my suggestion that we do this on a yearly basis. If you look there, it averages out to about $900 a year from here out, rather than waiting 5, 6, 10 years where it costs a significant amount.
Questions from council? Just to make sure I'm understanding you and follow you, it's roughly $7,800, a little bit less than that, but that would bring it completely up to date.
That would bring it completely up to date as of what we've sent them. Okay. So anything that would be passed currently would need to be added in at some point or within a year. Right. The ordinances that are passed that are not in this, the city clerk adds to the city website so that they can be found there. But there again, it's hard for most people to follow. Make sure they're actually reading what needs to be read.
And is there a line item in the 2019 budget that's been passed, or this is above and beyond?
This is going to be a little bit above and beyond, but I don't think it's going to be out of reach by any means. Like I said, for two reasons. We knew this was coming. We just weren't sure exactly how much. But in addition to that, a little later in the meeting, I got some information from last year's financials. I think show that we can cover this pretty easily, I believe. And also, if we have to, we can come back with an amendment. Like I said, this is
You said this would be a little bit above, so what, was there something in the budget that was placeholder?
Yeah, I was thinking we had like 5,500 or something, if I recall, or somewhere in that ballpark.
Originally, I had obtained a quote December of 2017, and then nothing was done with it at that point. So I think there was some money that was looked at that time for it.
Probably because we're a little further along, there's additional pages so
Right.
it just grown.
Councilmember Lawler?
Thank you, Mayor. Did we say what fund this was coming out of?
This would be a general fund.
Any further discussion, questions, debate? If not, Mr. Migan, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Spicer,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
and Mayor Atchison.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Tracy and Mr. Mead. Next item, discussion of citywide cleanup dates. Councilmember Reed, you can, if you'd like.
I put this on because I wanted to see if we could get them done. I think last year when we did citywide cleanup, wasn't it like the end of July going into August? And I was wondering if we could do it a little bit sooner this year. I think it would be better because a lot of people have stuff that they need to get rid of, but if they just keep it until then you're beginning to get back into the school year and back into other things, and you end up not really getting it cleaned out like you should. And I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of places around Albion that really could use some throwing away of some stuff. So if we could do it in June rather than the end of July, if there's no problem with June.
I would ask you to look at that, and have you been staring in my garage? I need to clean it up.
And if I could add to that, we did include the one page of the contract which pertains to that annual cleanup. And it does say in there that the date of the cleanup will be determined by mutual agreement each year. So it sounds like they're pretty flexible to reach out. I think that would be fine. You're thinking into June, is that what you were, or what was the date you were looking at?
I don't care what day. I just want it to be sooner than July.
Okay.
Because in July you have a lot of people who go on vacation, so that's why I'm thinking if we could get it done like in June, maybe right after school is out, something like that would be.
Maybe we can reach out to them and bring some dates back to you, to the council. That sound good?
Okay. All right. Any further questions or debate? Okay, next item. Pardon me.
I think that's me too.
Yep, discussion approval, rollback of Park Pavilion rental fees, and there is a...
Okay, I called over to Calhoun County. Our fees have been raised from $50 for pavilions to $100. And I was saying, I've been working on Holland Park now. I think this is the third year. And we are just in the process of trying to get $52,000. If anybody got $52,000 that you would like to give to Holland Park to build a pavilion, that would be very nice. We would accept it with a big thank you. But right now we're working on grants and things to raise the money to put a nice sized pavilion there, because the one that's there only holds about 4 tables. And people like having things there because the park is quite nice. Now, I'm not only talking about Holland Park, I'm talking about all of the parks have things that need to be repaired and fixed and cleaned and done in. So I called Calhoun County Parks and Recreation. They had a plan that they did, just like City of Albion has a plan that we did, but both plans have expired. And in talking with the gentleman over at the county, they do all the parks in Calhoun County. They have everything about them, and it tells what each park has in it, if it's a park or if it's a green space, or things like that. And so he was also saying that parks need to be. It depends on what you have in a park, what you have to offer there, as to what you kind of charge there. And in Albion, our 5-year plan we had, it has expired too. And I was talking to the mayor about the fact that we probably need to go back over take a look at our parks and things like that, and then decide if we should raise that price or not. Highland Park has a website, and on the website is a rating where people can, it tells how many people went on the website saying that they went to the park and how they enjoyed the park, or what was good there, or what was bad there, or whatever. And I know most of the things that I have seen, and most of the people I have talked to, was saying that a bigger pavilion would be something that is needed there. The other stuff, the other pieces that we have there are very nice, but a pavilion is what we need. I would not like to raise the price on that little pavilion from $50 to $100. I think that we should probably again get our a plan made for our parks, and then start to charge by how well we follow our plan and get it made. So I would like to roll back the prices on what we're charging for pavilions at the park.
Any further comments by council? Mr. Mead, I believe the budget that was approved did not include additional revenue based on an increase in fees. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So if we in fact did roll back to the prior fees from 2018, would not impact the budget.
Correct. And if you look too, I might add, we did put together a little schedule in there. We've been running between 35 to, looks like in 2017 we had 43 reservations. Now these aren't 100% accurate. We had to generalize a little bit because obviously you have the resident and the non-resident, and then sometimes people will get additional, like they pay extra for some extra tables or extra. So the actual price per rental might fluctuate a little bit. As you can see, if we dropped it back from the 100 back to the 50, I mean, you're talking roughly $2,000. I mean, it's not going to be a huge impact to the general fund one way or another. So, and the other thing too, I know Councilmember Reed, when she brought that to my attention, that's one thing that we've noticed is that we've never really distinguished by size of pavilion either. We just kind of did a flat, this is what we're charging, and we were talking about it, and we thought, it does kind of make more sense that you'd be willing to pay a little more for a larger pavilion and a little less for a smaller pavilion, and that's something I don't think we've ever took the time to really look into, so probably some good points.
Okay. Any further questions or, yes, Ms. Clark?
So, if I'm understanding correctly, so some of the actual additions to the other parks, like Hayes Albion or the Novel Park, is that included in what you were thinking? Because that
I
park
really
hasn't
don't
been
think
updated.
it is not.
Because it doesn't have a pavilion or anything like that.
No. And my whole thing is, I don't want people to start saying, well, I'm not going to use the park because of the price that it costs for the pavilion or whatever. Because we want them to use the park. Because when we get ready to do a grant and things like that, when I go back to that website and I can see how many people accessed information about that website, then I can put on my grant. We had 100 hits on that website of people who went to that park or had good comments about the park or something, which helps to get the grant that you need. So this is my whole thing, but I just... And I really think that it would be nice to get a Parks Committee set back up, take a look at all of our parks, and start deciding whether it's a park or a green space. What do we have, 22? If I'm not mistaken, Calhoun County has us listed as 22 parks. Is that what we have?
17.
17? Oh, 17? Okay, we have 7 parks. Our fantastic parks people know. Okay? And so, but just like we were talking before, all of those are not, it all depends on what you call a park. Some of it's green space, it's not a park. And so I think we need to decide what's going to do, what's going to be what, and then start put in place.
Okay. Councilmember Clark, did that answer your question? Councilmember Clark, did that answer your question?
Not sure, no.
Okay.
So.
Councilman Williamson.
Okay, so just quickly, I just want to capture the intent of what you're doing because I think I like it, and I've had lots of talk with people about. I've had lots of contact about this. So I think the intent of what you're doing, when you make this motion, if we were to take action tonight, you want to roll back the prices that are currently in the schedule for park rentals back to the 2018 schedule. Okay, great. So just and I do want to say, in support of that, I think that's a great idea. I'm very much in support of when we seem to have a lot of less pressing issues in front of the council, that we do establish this parks committee. They need some work. Just the park, the park in my, and even the main park in my precinct, we have a couple, but the main one, had this beautiful addition to it a few years ago, probably more than a few, but the bathrooms need to be fixed. There are things that need to happen. I'm sure that's the case in all the parks all over the city. And so I would be completely in support of having a committee focused on that. I think we should. I hope that you do make this motion to roll it back to the 2018 prices, and that makes it really clean for everybody. Just roll it back to the 18 standard, and we move forward from there.
Okay. Any further discussion, questions? Would you like to make a motion, Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
What's your motion?
My motion is that we return the price of the park rental or the pavilion rental back to the 2018 schedule rather than 50 rather than 100.
Okay. So it's been moved to roll back the fee structure to 2018. This says 55. I don't know what the right is.
I just want to interject too, because we have resident and non-resident. Do you just want to take them both back to where we were, or are you leaving them?
I think I'd move it back to how it was, so there was a higher cost for non-residents than residents. However it was before, until we get things up to.
Okay, so the motion is to roll the park rental fee back to the 28 fee structure. Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Would you call the roll, please? This involves money.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I still have the same question Councilmember Clark had as far as, what about parks with no pavilion? What's the rate?
I don't know that we have a rate for, because I think this is for reserving the pavilions. I believe. I don't know for sure though.
Right, because anybody can go to the park. It's whether you can rent the pavilion and use it for your event or party. So,
but the motion is to roll the fee structure back to 2018. So, whatever it was last calendar fiscal year. Okay, moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Lawler?
Yes.
Spicer?
Yes.
Williamson?
yes.
Clark?
Yes.
And Mayor Atchison?
Yes. All right. Item J, discussion to designate a city council member as liaison to the Albion Housing Commission. Councilmember Brown.
Yes, I asked for decision item. There was a resolution, I can't even remember the number of it now, I had it last meeting.
2013-09.
Thank you. Where the council actually had voted unanimously to designate a council member as a liaison to the Housing Commission. Pretty much like attend the meetings and report back to council with things that are happening. Councilmember Clark and I are the only two council members with Housing Commission properties in our precinct. I know that there's talk at the Housing Commission of revamping their resident council. So I think it's worth council to consider designating one of us to act as the liaison in that position.
I had a brief conversation with their city attorney if there was a precedent, which there was, and my understanding, and if you please correct me if I have this wrong, I believe it was Councilmember Barnes, but basically the duties or the roles, et cetera, was, as you just stated, was to go and attend and then report back to the council. Okay.
I think it would be good, with them trying to revamp their resident council, I think it would be good for us to designate this position just to help the communication flow, keep council abreast. I think they're trying to find ways to bridge their communication gap. So if we as council can help with that communication flow and keep us all abreast of what's going on, I think it would be helpful.
Sounds like a good idea to me. So I would suggest that we dust off that resolution, make whatever changes, and then we'll put it on a future agenda. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. Move on to the next. Discussion of council subcommittees. Okay, I put that on there, so I'll lead off. Our charter prohibits having any kind of standing committees, and the only subcommittee that I'm aware of that was in effect at the end of last year was the rental certification subcommittee, which consisted of Councilmember Reed, Councilmember Spicer, and Councilmember Lawler. Okay. Does any other council member believe there are any other subcommittees currently in place? Okay. So what I would ask is for that subcommittee to come back. We'll put it on a future agenda item, probably not the very next one, but in the relatively soon, to just give us an update of where you are with that. Okay?
So,
yes, Councilmember Spicer.
thank you. So then can we ask Director Tracy to set that, to contact Councilman Reed, Lawler, and myself to look at some potential dates to set a future meeting with regard to the rental certification?
Sure.
Is he here? He is here. Thank you.
Okay. So I do wish to establish another subcommittee, and there's, I use the term charter. There may be a better word for it, but basically it's probably in the center of your package, and it deals with the Corridor Improvement Authority, establishing a subcommittee to look at that. This was Public Act 57 that was approved in 2018. It is similar to a Downtown Development Authority. It is a tax increment financing authority intended to correct and prevent deterioration in residential, commercial, industrial areas, promote economic development, and funding infrastructure improvements in the area that this deals with is the Austin Avenue, Eaton Avenue, that L-shaped corridor. So that's what my intent is, to establish that, and the council members that would be on that committee would be Precinct 1 and Precinct 2, because those are the council members in that area, and I have a deep and very vested interest in this, so I would be the third member on that subcommittee. So if it was in the package, so I'm hopeful that everybody's kind of taken a look at it. So I'll open it up if you have questions or further discussion. Okay. So. All right. Next item, approval appointments and reappointments of boards and commissions. And the first one is Miss Betty Branch on the Board of Review. This would be an initial appointment, term to expire 12/31/2020. If I can have a motion, Councilman Brown.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
You need a motion before discussion, I apologize.
Can I get up? Thank you. Second. Thank you. Councilman Brown.
Thank you. So is this appointment for, the application said alternate, so
Right.
I'm
This is
confused.
for a full-time board member.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Okay. If you would call the roll.
Councilmember.
I'm sorry, no, I apologize. We don't have a motion, do we? I'm getting myself confused. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
You're doing good.
Doing good, getting confused. Okay. Can't go too far. Okay. If you would call the roll, please.
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Brown.
No.
Lawler,
No.
Spicer,
No.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
and Mayor Atchison.
Yes. Okay. Next appointment is Barbara McAllister on the Board of Review. This is a reappointment with the term to expire the same 12/31/2020. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second? Thank you. I'll mention that Ms. McAllister is currently on the Board of Review, and she has applied for reappointment, and so I'm glad to put her forward for confirmation. Beg pardon? Councilmember Long.
Is she here tonight?
I don't believe so. Okay, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Spicer,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
and Mayor Atchison.
Yes. Okay. Last appointment is Miss Emily Verbecki for the Downtown Development Authority. This is initial appointment, term to expire, 31st of December 2022. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Okay. I will say that Ms. Verbecki is here this evening, as is her father. Spoke on her behalf. We just had the last Downtown Development Authority meeting, and Ms. Verbecki was there and presented some information. She's very active in promoting the downtown and working with multiple companies. I think she'd be an outstanding addition to that board. So, that's Ms. Clark.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Mayor. So I'm new, so I ask questions, a lot of questions. So I understood what he was saying as far as not being, his daughter not being looked at because of who he is. Which I don't exactly know all about who he is. But I do know that sometimes when there's positions and you have a potential relative or somebody that could be influential over your thoughts or that you hold as a high esteem, I do have some concerns about that. So how do, is there any kind of code of ethics or anything that this holds a person to make sure that that doesn't happen?
Right. I'll ask the city attorney to address that, but what I would say is the requirements to sit on the board is you have to have an interest in the property or interest in property in the downtown area, which clearly that is the case.
So I don't know that they have any particular code of ethics, but usually virtually every public body adopts a rule one way or another that if any member of the board or authority has a direct or indirect financial interest in the matter being voted on, they usually, depending upon the board or authority, will either recuse themselves or seek recusal from that particular vote to avoid that conflict of interest.
So how is that standard held? So how do is there, who's present or know that actually happens during that time?
Well, as far as
the council, yes.
Only those members who are appointed to the board would realistically know about it. Okay. As far as the council's aware.
Which includes myself.
Okay.
Any further questions, comments? Okay.
Just a statement.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I would just like to state that I personally wouldn't hold it against Miss Emily Verby because Dr. Dobbins is her dad. So I just wanted to state that.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
No further comments? If you would read the roll, please.
Councilmember Lawler,
Yes.
Spicer,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
No.
Reed,
Yes.
Brown,
No.
and Mayor Atchison.
Yes. We're down to future agenda items. Councilmember Brown.
Yes, a presentation on the Opportunity Atlas on Albion, for Albion. Opportunity Atlas. It's the map of, there was a wonderful article in Pliad, written by a college student, Mr. Robertson. He is willing to come present that to council at the next meeting.
Okay.
Opportunity Atlas.
Okay. City Attorney Hargis.
Two things. One, just so the council's aware, Attorney Smith just emailed me and confirmed for 6:30 on Thursday.
Yes.
So we're good there.
Yes.
And number two, either the next
in the month of March.
So it'll either be the 4th or the 18th. I'm going to bring to council the criminal ordinances relating to possession of marijuana need to be updated because of the state law changes. I will have a draft for council at one of the meetings in March.
Okay. Councilmember Williamson.
Mr. Mayor, in March, Kids and Stuff will be celebrating their 16th anniversary of their 16th year of opening, and I'd like to see some sort of proclamation declaring March Kids and Stuff Month. I'll provide you more information.
Super. Councilmember Brown.
One more, sorry. A discussion on the council code of ethics, please.
Okay. Public comments. Persons addressing the City Council shall limit their comments to no more than 3 minutes. You are not restricted to agenda items. Proper decorum is required. No personal attacks, impugning people's motives, either council members, city employees, or other members of the public. So you are invited to come forward if you have public comments this evening. If you would please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Pardon me, Al Smith, 1209 Adams Street. A little dry this evening. Number one, I would like to thank everyone who's come out to the different events we've had at the American Legion this past month. We've had wonderful turnouts for everything. We thank you very much. And we also have our pancake brunch coming up the last Sunday. Also, myself and a number of other citizens have come together with questions about the Irwin Avenue project. So we're going to be reserving the American Legion Hall March 14th, Thursday, 7 to 9 p.m. And we're going to invite everyone from around the city of Albion and from outside the city of Albion if you have any kind of a question about what might be happening with the Irwin Avenue project. It will be strictly a discussion. We're asking some of the members of the city who may be, a part of it, who, the city manager and whoever else may be having something to do with it. We're asking utility companies and all that who may be affected to come down and talk to the citizens. It's going to be strictly them telling us what's going to happen. Hopefully we'll have enough time for at least a 1-hour Q&A at the end. This is going to be strictly citizens. There will be no political involvement whatsoever. Please leave your politics at home, and we hope to see everyone there. Thank you very much.
Okay. Mr. Smith, I've asked, I know, but please collect questions so the staff can be not blindsided. So.
That's what we plan to do.
Okay, thank you. Further public comments? Okay. Going into city manager's report.
I guess I'm going to throw in one real quick one here at the top in addition to what I got listed. It's been a crazy winter so far. Lots of up and down temperature extremes and snow and everything else. And heard some good things and some not so good things on the roads and everything. I'm just gonna ask everybody's patience to try to understand a couple things. Number one, we do have a fair number of new drivers that are learning the routes, but more importantly, we're getting hit with a string of bad luck with the equipment, with the trucks. Normally, they would have 6 dump trucks on the road. We are down, I just found out today, we're down another truck, so we're down to 3. Obviously, something we're looking into. We're trying to take some corrective action, but please be patient. Understand that's hard to do the work with half the equipment that you normally would have. So having said that, I'll move on to things on the agenda here. We had a good wrap-up meeting, I think, the other day with MEDC, tour of the Peabody building. Beautiful place, looks great, all the apartments and everything, very, very nice job they've done. We're going through the checklist to wrap that project up. It's a good feeling to have it behind us and see the success of it. One thing that came up during that checklist process, and it doesn't pertain necessarily just to the Peabody, but there were some requirements in that 24, 23 page long checklist that they had that requires the city to have certain policies in place for receiving grant money of this nature, federal money. And coincidentally, it will be some of the same money that we will be receiving for like the Irwin Ave project, the street project. So we would have to have these policies in place anyway for the Irwin Ave project. So you'll probably be hearing more from us soon as we bring some of this stuff to you to hopefully get some approval or get some guidance on, I guess, so that we can satisfy those requirements. And then again, related to that, the funding for the Irwin Street project seems to be moving along quite well. During that meeting we had with MEDC, they did mention that money is earmarked and ready for the project. Obviously, there's a lot of players involved, the engineers and the state and MDOT, a lot of different individuals that have to coordinate and come together, but so far it sounds like things are on track, so sounds like a good project. And again, relating to that, we understand there have been complications along that street, particularly on the east end of it, with some sewer issues. We've spoken with the engineers on that. Still looking for some answers. If you remember, part of the SAW grant that we had was a study on the sewer system, including ran cameras down into the sewer lines themselves, and put together a lot of information for us. And again, they did that citywide, so I reached out to them for one, and they said, hey, can we focus on this Irwin Ave? We got this project coming up. Can we focus on some of the issues that have been experienced there? See if we can come up with some solutions. So that is in the works. We're working with that. The engineering firm that is overseeing Irwin Ave project in particular, I brought it to his attention as well. He is also going to put some thought into it, and I think it's actually been discussed some before, but we're going to look into it a little bit more. So we haven't forgotten, we have heard, we are looking into that. What else we got here? We've got, I think we mentioned to you of the 2 main wells that supply water to the city, to the water tower. One is in desperate need of repair. We're making preparations to do that. We don't anticipate any interruption in the water supply. You never know as we get closer if something is going to come up that could affect it for a couple days or something. Obviously, we'll get the word out and let everybody know. But we do have backup wells that we are going to be working on now, getting them brought up to speed so that they'll be online and ready to go. So when they shut down the well that needs the work, we'll have these backup wells ready. And again, we don't anticipate any interruptions, but just be aware that that is coming. You probably noticed the barricades on the main intersection of the town. It seems like last year those barricades were there for the longest time, and now they're back. And it appears to be, for some reason, AT&T has some type of line that runs through there, under the streets out there into that manhole. And it seems to be particularly bad in wet weather, where the line fails. And during the failure, it's unfortunate for a couple blocks of residents that, this is what I'm being told anyway, that they could have some failure with their phones or communications. And it's particularly concerning to us at the city because it's also the alarm line on the water tower. So it's very critical that get repaired, especially with this one well. We know that it's, it needs some repair anyway, and now our alarm line is not working like it should. So hopefully AT&T will get that resolved soon and get the barricades out of the road and back to normal down there. Traffic is normal in downtown, hopefully, once they get their work completed. Street lights, that's on track to move forward. We hope to see, I'm going to guess, the next 30 to 45 days, I would think we should start seeing some actual replacement of the lights. I need to reach out for sure to consumers to see what they're thinking for a start date, but when we talked before, it sounded like everything was on the go. I did find a map, sort of, of the lights. We found a map of the city, and it had it looked like all the street lights listed, and then they were color coded. We have not been able to find the key to know exactly what those colors meant. And because of that, we weren't exactly sure which ones, what color of lights were to be replaced. Somebody had gone through and, some were red, some were green, and I think it had something to do with the wattage and different things and, how they made their selection. So we're still trying to figure out a little bit more on exactly where these replacements will be. But at least we found the map, so we got something to work with on that. And I think the last thing I just wanted to wrap up with is the financials. If you recall, we try to provide once a month, we try to stick in some financials in there. And this particular month, I wanted to draw your attention to them because this is these are actually the 12/31/18, but bear in mind these are the unaudited. Obviously, the auditors, we expect to see them probably into March. Actually, I'm hoping more like April. So we won't have all the final numbers till they present their report, later in the year. And I do know that not all the revenues from 18 have been posted in here yet, so that's good. That'll make the numbers look even better. I also know we'll probably come across some more expenses, invoices and stuff that are slow to trickle in. However, having said that, we had focused primarily on our general fund, keep it somewhat short here. We had anticipated, again, to try to be conservative, we had anticipated and asked for approval from the council of an amended budget of where we would be dipping into the fund balance to the tune of about $175,937. Again, that was our conservative estimate. We expected it to come in better than that. How much better, we weren't sure. Where we sat right now, when I ran this report last Thursday, I believe it was, we were setting actually a positive $12,600, almost $640, $12,640 to the plus, meaning not only will we not have to dip into the fund balance, we'll actually be adding to it. Again, those are unaudited. There will be more changes, I'm sure, but I do know some more revenue needs to be added into that yet, so that could even possibly come out even better than that. So to sign off with a good note, I guess, 18 may turn out to be a pretty decent year for the fund balance.
Well done, sir. Any questions for Mr. Mead? Councilmember Spicer.
Thank you. Just a point of clarification. Mr. Reed, you indicated that there was going to be work performed on the tower, the water tower, did you say? Or was it sewer?
There will be, well, a lot of things going on. The wells, one of the wells that supplies water to the tower will have some work on it. Matter of fact, if you remember, in I think it was 16, there's two main wells that are used and relied on heavily all the time. In 16, we did the other well. This time, we're doing the one that hasn't been done in quite a long time. It's going to be both the pump and the motor, and also the well, the well itself. They have to go down and clean the well from out underground. So.
You also stated that if there was going to be any interruption to resident service, that they would be notified. What I want to ask is, if I recall correctly, and Councilwoman Brown can probably help me with this, I believe we allocated and authorized some type of alert system via phone when Chief Kip was interim manager. And did that ever actually happen, take place?
I think so, but you know what? I might ask Chief, because I think he can tell you. Do you have the code? You can tell, can't you? Type into their code or their phone, or how does that work?
Well, you can still go to the Nixle program that we have on the city public safety website, but we also have the ability now to force that out to phones as well in the community. So that's what we added to it from what we had before.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else you wanted to add about being overwhelmed? You mentioned that one to me.
No.
Okay.
I think at some point we got to look at what the options might be going forward. You know, we talked about stepping into this for a couple weeks. I think this is the start of 5 now, which would be quite as bad, if not where we're at financially, with year-end tax settlement with the county and an audit coming up, which puts us way, way, way behind. So we need to think about some options, I guess, on going forward.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. All right. There we go. Okay. Mayor and council members' comments. Comments by council members. Councilmember Brown, I apologize.
I just wanted to remind everyone about the second annual Black History Month music celebration that's coming up this Saturday, February 23rd. It is at 6 p.m. at Washington Gardner Auditorium. Tickets, 6 o'clock, yes. The doors will open at 5:30. General admission tickets are $5. They have a list of performers from all over: Detroit, Inkster, Albion, Battle Creek, Jackson. So just wanted to remind you all to come out and support this second annual celebration. Thank you.
Any further comments by council members? I have a couple. I'll try to go through them fairly quickly. Talking about upcoming events, as Mr. Tracy pointed out, we have tomorrow evening the Zoning Commission. It's a public discussion. That is tomorrow, and that is here in the council chambers. Okay. Thursday, the 21st of February, grand opening for Mitchell Golf on Superior Street, new business in town. So that's good news. Let's see here. Thursday, the 28th of February, Marshall's Economic Outlook. That's going to be at the Marshall United Methodist Church. Albion has their version, or we have our version of our Economic Outlook, which is on the 7th of March at the Ludington Center at 7 p.m. A reminder of the charity function for Darrington's Gift, which is at the Knights of Columbus on the 2nd of March. Let's see. 9th of March, 11 to 1 p.m., Friends of Albion's Animals. They have a fundraiser at the American Legion. It's, I believe, is 11 to 1 p.m. 9th of March, Oaklawn's charity auction out at Firekeepers. And then here's a really important one, 10th of March, daylight savings time. Okay, so let's see, that's spring ahead, so we lose sleep. 12th of March, Calhoun County Land Bank is going to be providing a brief to the community. That'll be from 6 to 7 p.m. We might be able to convince them to stay a little longer for questions. That's at the Ludington Center, Tuesday the 12th of March. And last but not least, as Mr. Smith pointed out or informed us, on Thursday the 14th of March, they'll be at the American Legion, 7 p.m., public information for those that are interested in the Irwin Avenue Street project. And then based on how well that goes, if there's additional interest, we'll work with Mr. Mead and city staff and do something similar for North Street. So, may I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, Councilmember Reed.
Yeah, on the 12th that you were talking about the land bank, a lot of people have been asking about how they could acquire properties that were houses were torn down from the land bank. They're also going to talk about their side lot program, where if there's a home torn down on the side, you can get the lot for a lot cheaper than what you could if it was just a regular price. So, and there's an ad in the newspaper about that, so if you take a look, and that's the night that you want to come and ask your questions. The county treasurer is going to also be there, so they can give you all the information you need. They're going to also be talking about the Union Steel property.
Yes.
and what's going to be done about it.
So, our wonderful, dedicated county commissioner has been so patient. Do you have comments for us this evening?
Actually, I did, as a matter of fact, but you were so indulgent for a moment.
Absolutely, sir. You are, after all, our county commissioner.
I'll be 30 seconds. I just want to take the opportunity to officially welcome Vicki Clark to the council. Certainly welcome. Very nice to meet you and welcome aboard. And then, if anybody's interested, Saturday, February 23rd, this Saturday, Community Action's, I believe, 30-something annual Walk for Warmth is happening at the Albion United Methodist Church. So I'll be walking. So come join me for some fun on Saturday morning. So, okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir.
Motion to adjourn.
It's been moved in second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.